This world is mine. In time. You, best of all of us, Gabriel, should understand. Ambition. Son of perdition. Little horn. Most unclean. I do miss the old names. Time to go home, son.
Happy Halloween, Ghouliacs! After a long drive across the Lone Star State, we're heading back home. The few miles before we all cross into the county line, you start to feel a bit more relaxed. The familiarity of it all can come with a sense of comfort. But what if coming home doesn't bring you peace? But it's a reminder of the horrors of your hometown. In the season finale of Ghoul Radio 2, we explore some of the city's darkest tales, which made it to the national spotlight. Tales of murder, so gruesome, many still believe the victims' spirits roam today. A 1990s crime of teens killing a franchise owner, whose spirit is believed to still appear in the area. The cries of a child at Laredo Park after a man killed a mother and their child. And finally, the sounds of children laughing at a Laredo hotel. It's believed to be the spirits of two young boys killed at the hands of their father. You don't have to travel far to know each city has their dark secrets, because there's nothing more horrible than the horrors of your hometown. A person close to Ghoul Radio that wants to remain anonymous told us this story. They had worked at a hotel in downtown Laredo for about a year now. They were there when the hotel was the center point for a gruesome crime. A man had killed two kids, his stepson and biological son. Now, I won't go too deep into the case. All I know is that the man was sentenced to death, and he's trying to fight his execution. Anyways, back to the story. The woman who told our source this story said about 3 months into it, she was passing through the floor where the crime happened, and she heard kids laughing. And she didn't think much of it, but the following week, she heard it again. This time, she knew for a fact no kids were staying on that floor. She knew the tragedy that took place in that building, especially on that floor. She even claims to have seen a little boy run in the hallways and then vanish. Regardless, she doesn't work there anymore, but the sights of two small boys and the sounds of their laughing is a stark reminder of the horrors that hotel was witnessed of. There are over 100 parks in Laredo. Believe it or not, it's true. Ask any city official. Anyway, Father McNaby Park is one of them. I go running there from time to time. The cool thing about it is that it sits close to the river. It's actually right next to it. There's a lot of green there. a lot of trees, and all that good stuff. Traveling along the trail, you see a makeshift memorial site. Now, out of respect of the family, we won't disclose the name, but there's a certain paranormal group that stated they have done an investigation at this park and have heard the sounds of a child crying. A woman and her baby were killed there. The person accused of the crime was the child's father. Just Google the story and you'll see what I'm talking about. Regardless, people claim that a woman is heard screaming and a child is heard crying. There's so many people who claim the same thing. It's impossible to ignore. If you're curious, remember to be respectful. Makeshift memorial sites are still in place to remember the victims of this horrific crime. Life was different in 1991. Can you believe it? It's been over 30 years. Life before social media is either a bliss or not. Well, it depends on how you look at it. Being a teenager at the turn of the 1990s was different. But for 3 teenage boys, it was their decisions that determined their destiny. A local pastor was also a manager of a major fast food joint in Laredo. He was known to help the youth, but when he went to sleep one night, while 2 other boys were sleeping in his house, 2 teenage boys broke in and killed all 3. A 3rd teenage boy is said to have driven them to the scene of the crime. Anyway, the murders were so gruesome, so macabre, one of the teens claimed the devil made him do it. I'm not exaggerating. Netflix even did a special of the story. Regardless, people in the paranormal world claim the house is haunted by the victims. Most of them were attacked while asleep, so they didn't even know what happened. The sad truth is, this tragedy is cemented in the history of Laredo. In this ordinary-looking home in North Laredo lie secrets of a 3-decade-old tragedy. And now, our final guest. Hey Ghouliacs, for this episode we have a special guest, Nightmare Hour. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
So my name is Jesus Moreno. I'm one of the investigators with Nightmare Hour.
And my name is Violet, and I'm also one of the investigators with Nightmare Hour.
All right, and it's here at home, right, in Laredo, Texas?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Born and raised.
When did you guys start this whole project, Nightmare Hour Paranormal?
So we actually started exactly a year this month. It did feel like a calling. Last October, I just had this really big gut feeling that it's something that I needed to try and I needed to do. And so I told Wiley, like, hey, let's do this. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but everything's telling me that I should do it. And she said yes. So we've been doing it for about a year now.
What inspired you guys?
Yeah, so for me personally, it's just been a lifetime of paranormal events and paranormal experiences. I had some poltergeist level activity happen at my house when I was very young. And while nothing that strong has happened since then, there's still been other stuff that's happened. And it always stuck with me. It always something that I come back to whenever bring up the paranormal because most people have like, oh yeah, I heard something, I heard a little thing here or there. But in my case, it was like a bunch of stuff moving on its own in a matter of seconds. So it was pretty significant. I mean, there are some people that never experienced paranormal, and to kind of have that huge contrast between no experience and then something that's like, usually only seen in movies. It's definitely part of the reason why I wanted to go into paranormal research.
Great answer. And what about you, Violet?
For me, it's always been something I'm interested in. I've always liked spooky stuff, I guess. Watching the shows like on TV or the ones that are on YouTube and stuff. Like, I've always enjoyed watching those shows. I've always thought they were interesting. I've always thought the paranormal in general was interesting. So it just kind of felt natural to say, why not, and give it a try. So, yeah, and we've been doing it for this long now, and it's so much fun.
Awesome. What has been your most unforgettable experience so far?
Yeah, so for me personally, the most unforgettable one has been actually the first one. Because for the first one, we just it was a local business that I unfortunately can't name because they asked us to respect their privacy. But I will say that it was a warehouse like building, and they were just like, yeah, we think we see stuff, and we kind of want you guys to check it out, see if there's any validity behind what we experienced. So we kind of went into it with this mentality of like, oh well, it's the first one. I know that not everybody catches something the first time, but we did it anyways. We tried. And Violet and my camera guy were actually kind of scared for the first one because I mean, it's all the lights are off, the business is closed, there's nobody else, and there's like a bunch of stuff all around. But being that I used to work at a warehouse, I felt pretty comfortable there. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go walk alone and see what happens. And so I had a spirit box on, and pretty much the entire time that I was alone and I was asking questions, I was getting really intelligent responses. Up to the point where I went into the restroom where supposedly somebody passed away, and I asked in Spanish because we're in South Texas. Spanish is pretty much a predominant language down here. I asked if they could give me a sign. Me podían enseñar que alguien estaba ahí conmigo, if somebody was there with me. And they, through the spirit box, it was a very clear Mande. Like if somebody just wasn't exactly sure what you were asking. And it was just, I remember the chills that it sent down my body and the excitement that I felt, where I was like, there's no way, like I've actually just made communication with something, right? Especially because I was alone in that restroom where someone supposedly passed away. So for me, that was the moment that hooked me. And we've had other cool stuff. We've captured shadow operations. We've had very experiences with some negative entities, but that first one is truly unforgettable for me because I think that's a moment where I realized like this is what I want to do.
Like a calling card kind of thing. Kind of.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And what about you, Violet?
I think for me, actually my favorite moment, or like the one that I like think about a lot, is a very recent one that we did at the museum. I think that night where we got interaction and it started talking to us about like historical figures or like historic events in Laredo and stuff like that was really crazy because there's the history to back it up, and the area that we're in, and the what this place used to be, and all of those things. Like I think that's kind of like one of my favorite things about the paranormal. At least doing the paranormal research and stuff like that, that you can go back and you can connect it to stuff that actually happened, or like history, and especially in a place like Laredo that we feel like, oh well, it's just Laredo, you know, and people kind of dismiss it, but there's a lot of cool stuff that happened here, and so it's really, really awesome to get
The old city.
those interactions, and like you're asking these questions, you're getting the intelligent responses that are, you know, accurate, historically accurate, I guess, and yeah, that was like really awesome.
Okay. Can you please state the name of the museum that you mentioned?
The museum is the Republic of the Rio Grande Museum.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Just wanted to clear that out.
Yes, yes.
Where would you want to investigate?
Oh man. If you've spoken to me about the paranormal, you pretty much know, but I want to investigate anywhere that has a basement, because basements are they're not usually a thing here in Laredo infrastructure.
Yeah, that's
I don't even think we're allowed to like build a house with a basement in Laredo. So yeah, anywhere that has a basement here in Laredo, I think would have crazy energy, just because you know that it predates a certain time. Because I feel like there's like a certain date. I haven't corroborated this, so don't quote me on it. But pretty sure that there's a certain year where Laredo was like, you know what, this is not like a basement city, so no more basements. So anything prior to that does have a basement is probably historic and has a ton of energy that's just begging to be investigated. So it's not a particular place. I know anything that has a basement, I'm there. But I guess if you need a place with like a like if you wanted like a particular like named place, there's the old Vidal Magnet, the old Vidal High School. I think that is a place that, even if you're like looking at it from the outside in, it feels like it's frozen in time. I feel like it's a time capsule of a completely different era of high schools and the way high schools looked and stuff. So I would love to investigate in there. I mean, it just looks, I don't mean to offend anyone, but it just looks old, you know? It just looks old, and I would love to go in there.
What about basement locations that are not here in Laredo? Like, would you ever want to investigate, you know, another location that's not?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, do you have anything in mind?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I do have locations that I want to investigate that are not in Laredo. They're still in Texas, but they're not in Laredo. One of my dream locations is the Mineral Wells house in Mineral Wells, Texas. Very, very haunted. I think it's one of like the more aggressive hauntings. So I want to go there. If it has a basement, then all the more reason to go. But yeah, that's it calls me, you know, like a basement. I feel like there's so much energy there.
Yeah, basements remind me of Pennywise the Clown.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that they still use basements as like the creepy thing, you know. If you saw Deliverance recently on Netflix, it has a basement scene. Longlegs, if you saw Longlegs, he lives in a basement. You know, they're like, people associate a lot of like dark energy with the basement because, you know, that's the direction you go if you're bad. So yeah, I really want to investigate a really charged basement.
Nice. Hopefully it happens. And what about you, Violet? Same question.
I think any of like the older buildings downtown in Laredo would be amazing. There's like so many, but if I have to say anything outside of Laredo, I would say like my crazy dream location, which is the Winchester House in California. That one is insane. I know it's a maze in there. I know you can get lost so easily, but I would love to go in there. It looks insane. It looks awesome.
Yeah, so many doors that lead to nothing.
Yeah. The one that leads to outside and the top floor.
Yeah, the top floor, right? Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a trampoline down there.
Oh, maybe.
Can you please tell us about the paranormal tours that are currently going on?
So the paranormal tours, they're kind of just talking about the San Agustin Plaza. So it's like a small area of the Laredo downtown, but it's a very packed area. It's packed with history. There's a lot of stuff that went down, a lot of appearances, a lot of different things, paranormal sightings. So we're talking about the San Agustin Plaza, which is like the original town center. the La Posada Hotel, which is one of the older structures, the Republic of the Rio Grande Museum, which used to actually be like the capital of the Republic of the Rio Grande, the Legion Post, where supposedly a young lady danced with the devil and she lost her life, and the Border Heritage Museum, Villa Antigua Border Heritage Museum, that houses, or that is currently housing, all of the haunted relics from the LPRS collection. So we're just kind of talking about like some of the paranormal experiences that people have had throughout the years, throughout different generations. It's not just like a new thing. It's been going. There's stories that have been told for a long time, and just sharing part of the history, right? A lot of people don't realize, even locals, that the San Agustin Plaza has had a graveyard. There's over 100 bodies under the San Agustin Plaza. Probably just from regular deaths or anything like that. And then, of course, like the battle between the Wotas and the Huaraches took place in San Agustin Plaza. Like literally, the plaza where people walk around every day was littered with bodies at one point. Over 30 people died during that battle. That's the type of history that's there, and we may not realize it. We walk there all the time. You might work down here. You might go across all the time. But yeah, that's the kind of history that's under you. So we just wanted to share that and offer a cool experience for the community that isn't usually available.
Yeah, that's really insightful, man. That you guys are actually walking around the actual plaza that has a lot of activity. Can you please tell us who is LPRS, because you mentioned it right now?
Yeah, so LPRS is the Laredo Paranormal Research Society. They are the original paranormal research team. They're also the most tenured paranormal research team here in Laredo. They're still in operation. We're working really close with them on this series of events, whether it be the tours or the museum exhibit. It's was founded and run, is still run by Mr. Ismael Cuellar, a very kind-hearted man. He's kind of been mentoring us throughout this whole journey of ours, and he, agreed to work with us. He trusted us to put on this exhibit with the museum, and it's just been a ton of fun. Going into this, I knew that I wanted to do it right, and the only way of doing that was to work with somebody as experienced and as professional as Mr. Cuellar. So yeah, definitely check them out if you haven't, or if you don't follow them on social medias. They do a lot of cool stuff too, and they share like actual pretty interesting evidence.
What has been the response of the public with these paranormal tours that are being available?
Yeah, it's actually been extremely overwhelming, man. Both ourselves and the museum kind of went into it like, okay, let's try it out. Let's see if people are interested in this. Let's see if there's a want, right? And the dates for the tours pretty much sold out in a day. Then we opened a waiting list, and there's like over 70 people on the waiting list, so we had to close up the waiting list. And right now we're in the process of trying to figure out if more dates are going to be possible, because we really didn't expect as many people to be, wanting to participate. It's awesome. It's really great that the interest is there, but we were kind of blindsided. Like I said, we thought like, maybe we'll fill up all the spots, but we didn't really think that so many more people would want to go and be a part of it. So I know that there's some hard feelings about the people that didn't get a spot, but we're very appreciative of those that did sign up early, and those that signed up for the wait list, and those that are patiently waiting to see more dates. Like, trust us, we're working on it. If we for some reason can't figure it out this year, there's always next year, and hopefully even next year we'll have more spots, more stuff to talk about. But yeah, we're really, as overwhelming as it is, like it's been awesome to see that there is an interest for this. And of course, if you didn't make it to the tours, you can come check out the exhibit. It's full of a bunch of haunted objects, some of which have some extremely negative stories behind them. Like I said, they belong to LPRS. It's been a collection that has taken about over 30 years to put together. And this is the first time that most of these artifacts are ever being displayed to the public. So if you didn't make it to the tours, absolutely no worries. There's more than enough spooky in the museum to scare you.
Wow. Can you please tell us about that collection?
Yeah, so it's called the Strange Possessions exhibit. Like I said, we've been putting it together myself for Nightmare Hour, the Laredo Paranormal Research Society, and the Webb County Heritage. It belongs to Mr. Ismael Cuellar. These are all items that families have previously given or surrendered to him because whether they found them in their homes and then the moment they found them, stuff started happening, or there was some sort of tragedy, and then after the tragedy, activity started happening because of the items. They just decided to give them to Mr. Cuellar, and Cuellar, for the sake of helping the families out, he took them in. And so far, every single time that he's taken these items home, the activity stops for the people that originally called him. So since then, he's kept them safe. He's kept them under lock and key so as to not burden anybody else with the paranormal activity. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff here, man. Some of it says some really heavy, like backstories involving a loss. I'll put it that way so that you don't get flagged or anything. Involving loss or just absolute terrible stuff. If you like the paranormal and dark tourism, definitely something for you to check out. Even as we're like putting it together, there's a lot of energy in here, and you can just feel the shift in the energy the moment that you bring these things out. So, like I said, if you want to check it out, beware, enter at your own risk, but it is really interesting.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
And what do you believe is the most haunted spot in Laredo? You first, Jesus.
So for me, as much as I haven't investigated at all, I think that if I were allowed to, St. Peter's Plaza would have an insane amount of energy just because there are generations and so many different cultures and architectures involved with the buildings. I mean, you can see it if you've never walked down there. Just take a stroll around the plaza and look at the buildings and how different they all look. Some of them look old Victorian, some of them look Cuban. It's amazing. And when you mix all those cultures and all those different times, it's bound to be filled with energy and different experiences and old stories. Some of the relics that we have in here were from the old St. Peter's Plaza homes. People would buy them, they'd find them in the basement, and once they found them and moved them around, stuff would start happening, and they'd call Cuellar, so I think that's the most haunted location in Laredo, but unfortunately I haven't investigated any other buildings there yet, but never say never, right? Hopefully the opportunity will present itself later.
Definitely. What about you, Violet?
For me, I was also gonna say downtown. I was actually going to say the San Agustin area where we're currently giving the tours. I think it just has to be. It just has to be because of the amount of history, the amount of energy that is connected to this area. And there's so much. It's not even just the battles, but the fact that I mean, still is the city center. People still come here and hang out, and they they go across. I think the bus comes over here. But yeah, there's just a lot of energy that's down here. The buildings are, historic. They're old. They're from when this city was founded for the most part. So I think, of course, this area definitely has to be the most haunted or spooky or whatever.
Yeah, I believe that. Walk around that area, even in the daytime, it just feels...
Oh yeah, even, the church, definitely for sure. This whole area.
What do you want to tell the skeptics about the paranormal? You first, Jesus.
I would say that paranormal, by definition, just simply means something that cannot be easily explained or scientifically explained. While most things or most people fake evidence, there are times that organizations or paranormal research teams don't do that, and there are times where the stuff that you capture just truly can't be explained, and that's paranormal. It doesn't mean that it's a ghost, a demon, an alien, or anything like that. It's just simply something that can't be explained. And in the name of science, and if you want to consider this a pseudoscience, and that's perfectly fine, I understand. But I think the best way to live in anything, and not just the paranormal, is just to have an open mind and understand that some people, some paranormal research groups are not here to tell you definitively that something is an alien or an angel or a demon. Sometimes it's just something you can't explain, and that's paranormal. So just going into everything with a non-judgmental open mind and respecting what it is that paranormal researchers do. That's all I can really say. For some people, no matter what happens, or if they see something fly in front of them, they're just never going to accept it, and that's fine. But that's not a very scientific mind, or way of mind. So yeah, just be open-minded and consider all possibilities instead of just shutting stuff down.
Great answer. What about you, Violet?
I think that was the best way to put it for sure. I think I'll just add that, questioning stuff is important, especially in paranormal research and stuff, because we don't want to just say, oh yeah, that's definitely a ghost, or that's definitely this. You never want to be definitive like that. So questioning things is important, and so if you want to be a skeptic, that's totally fine. That's totally cool. But yeah, keep an open mind about things, question things. Always. I mean, like, don't just say, "Oh, yep, definitely a ghost," or "definitely this," or "definitely that." So it's important to think about that stuff like critically and say, "Okay, did I do everything that I can to prove this?" So we don't want to just say, "Oh yeah, something moved." It's like, okay, well, could it be the wind, or could it be the house? Like, it's an old house, the wood is settling, or whatever. So yeah, keep an open mind about everything, and yeah, I think Jesus said it best.
Y'all both said it best.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing at what you do, and having you part of the show is an honor, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, the honor's ours, man. Appreciate you having us on.
But again, thank you guys, and I'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Gente.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
But wait! There's more! Hang on to your seat, baby! Cause this one's a screamer!
Hey, Ghouliacs. For this episode, I invited one of my best friends, Chloe. What's up, Chloe?
What's up, Rob? Thanks for the invite, buddy.
I love that you finally made it to the show.
I know, it's been like a year that we've been trying to get this started.
Yeah. So far, so good. A lot of episodes, a lot of things have happened since the first season of Ghoul Radio. You have Jump Scare, you have all these specials. But now we're at Ghoul Radio 2, and we finally made it.
Pretty excited to share my paranormal story.
Yes. So, Chloe, for our listeners, what has been your most paranormal experience growing up as a kid or right now as an adult?
Leading up to this, I was scared I wasn't going to have one story that was probably going to stand out, but I guess I do. And it was back when I was 16, back in high school. It was my junior year. And I guess let's just get into it.
Yes.
I guess it was during the week. It must have been, just a Wednesday night. What do you do in Laredo on a Wednesday night when you're in high school? Just drive around with your friends, try to find something to do. In this case, we went to this particular site that I'm not gonna name. But it's very famous. If you were born and raised in Laredo, there's a huge chance you were born there. And like it's just.
It sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it's a landmark.
Very illegal.
Yeah, no. Don't do this, or don't try to do this. But you're kids. You're in a small town. There's nothing to do here. So what do? You break into an illegal property, right? The private property. No, don't do that, kids. Please, if you're listening,
don't do it.
Don't. It's not worth it.
From my past guests, please, Ghouliacs, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. I was a dumb kid. So yeah, it was like about 5 of us, all girls, right? All girls to top it off. And we go to this, I guess, landmark of Laredo. Obviously, a lot of people are gonna know what I'm talking about because it's I guess the scariest place here. I would say. I think it's the one that everybody talks about the most. That they see things from outside of the property. I know I've seen a couple things on Facebook where it's like the houses around there also experience a lot of paranormal stuff. But yeah, so it was like a typical weekday night. We ended up going. We found a way to get in. Finally get in, and we heard stories before going that it was kind of like not the safest to enter, and it really wasn't, dude. There's parts of the building that are it's missing a floor, the ceiling's caved in. There's a lot of like.
Sounds really dangerous.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of glass, nails. I had my tetanus shot, so I wasn't that worried.
It's perfect.
But yeah, I mean, we went in, we explored a little bit. I want to say we got to the 3rd floor of this building, and we got to this area that was just kind of like, like an office area where I guess they had all files and like paperwork or something. But in the corner of this room, I saw like a dark mass, but we couldn't really see anything. We didn't go prepared. We didn't go with flashlights or night vision stuff,
Like you actually saw it.
Yeah, no.
With your own eyes.
I'm a skeptic, dude. I really am. But don't get me wrong. I'm a huge wuss. I cannot watch a scary movie. I mean, I'll watch like the classic films, because I know what happens in them.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna go watch The Conjuring and like.
What? Really?
No, wait, no, dude. I can't. I just finished telling you that I like to eat a hot dog at the movies. I cannot do that while watching one of those films. But don't get me wrong. I love to watch Ghost Adventures. Like I love that shit, But then it still scares the shit out of me. I'm like, yeah, it does, dude, because that's scary. Like to think, and because I did get to experience something similar. Like I don't know if it's your mind playing tricks on you because you do know you're in this area that could possibly have a lot of like paranormal activity, so you probably get in your own head and yourself out that you're seeing something. But I know what I saw, and the reason I do have confidence and I know what I saw is because other people saw it too. And it was just at the corner of the desk, we saw this dark mass that I thought, maybe it's being like, we're able to see it because car lights are hitting it from the window or something, but we're on the 3rd floor. Like that's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, no. So it's this mass in the corner, and I'm like staring at it, and one of my friends behind me is like, do you guys see that? And I look at her and I see that she's pointing towards the same direction that I was staring at.
Wow.
And you just see this mass like just drop down. Like it just drops down and you're like, oh shit. At that point we all got really scared. I could feel like the hairs on my arms raised. I'm not gonna lie, my legs felt like jelly. I was so scared.
That's creepy.
And I mean, again, we were on the 3rd floor, so we have to run back down, but part of the stairs were missing, so you had to stick to the left.
Pretty dangerous.
Yeah, so running down the stair, it was chaos ensued after that, right? We freaked out, ran down the stairs. We get to the 2nd floor. Mind you, we're 5 girls all screaming at the top of our lungs. Little do we know, there's a security guard on site. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So when we get to the 1st floor, we hear a man's voice, and obviously at that point, you understand that that's not a physical human being yelling at you, like telling you, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
Yeah.
But I was scared shitless, dude. I was like, I didn't care. I'm running. I'm running towards the area we went to. Now, I'm not the most athletic person, but when I tell you I scaled that fence,
Nice.
dude.
Yeah, you had to. You had to.
I don't know what it is with me jumping fences. It wasn't the first time.
Well, as long as you didn't jump off the building.
No. We made it to the first floor. We made it to the gift shop. Couldn't buy anything. I had to run out. But we jumped over the fence. And this security guard did not give up, dude. He's like still running, and we see him. And we have one more friend that needs to clear the fence. She's at the top, but when she gets to the top, she's like, I can't jump. I'm like, dude, you have to, or you're staying here. I don't know. It's up to you. She jumps. My other friend kind of like tries to catch her. She scratches her arm, whatever. We get in the car. I was like, did you guys see that? And as we're driving off, and we're like, yeah, it was so scary. My friend's like, yeah, I think I'm bleeding. Dude, she had a gash on her arm. Like
the barbed wire.
Yeah. It was a wired fence, but
yeah.
She had like a gash on her arm, and we're like, shit. And she was bleeding, dude, like so much. That we knew it was a deep wound, and we were like, we gotta go to the hospital. And she's like, please don't take me to a certain hospital and take me to the one in the north. Right? So we're like, okay. And that friend that took forever to jump off the fence is like, you know what, guys? I'm in pain. And we're like, dude, it's not about you right now. We have this girl bleeding. Okay, you need to
definitely
chill. We get to the emergency room. My friend gets down. Whatever. We go down with her. They're like, how'd she get that? She fell. Okay, whatever. We don't have time to question you. We gotta stitch this up. Our other friend is like limping, and she's like, guys, I really don't feel good. I'm like, you know what, dude? We're in the hospital. Get yourself checked. Okay, you want to check yourself in? Get yourself checked. She does, dude. She broke her hip.
Oh man,
dude, shit. She had a fracture in her hip from jumping the fence, and we were like, oh man, sorry about that. You really did hurt yourself. But yeah, that's not the only story I have, but yeah, that was the one that really did scare the shit out of me.
Wow. Did you guys ever go back?
Oh hell no, dude. No way. Even till this day, like that happened when I was like 16. I'm 34 now. I drive by there and I don't even make eye contact with the building. Like I just choose not to. Like it's so hard to drive to the glass kitchen and have to pass that building.
Yeah, I remember the only weird experience I ever had outside that hospital location. So there's this car ritual that you do whenever you visit that location. You park right in front of the main entrance. You turn off your engine. You roll down your windows. And you wait to see what you hear. Or if anything pops out. I went that night with a couple of friends. It was during high school as well. And we're in my friend's car. And we parked. We turned off the engine. We rolled down the windows. And all of a sudden, it was just quiet. You could hear the wind. And there's a chain and a lock in front of that gate. And so it was quiet for like 5 minutes, maybe 10. And then all of a sudden, you hear that chain rattle.
Shut up.
Yeah. And my friend just turned on the car and we just fucking took off.
Yeah, dude. Don't stick around and find out. It could either be that or the homeless guy that's about to ask you for cash.
I'm like, it's the wind.
It's fine. No, dude. I mean, like I told you, I've seen stories on Facebook where they're just, oh yeah, like no, there's this like demon that sits outside and just chills, and I'm like, oh okay.
Whoa.
Oh okay.
I've never heard about any demonic activity there.
I mean, you have to think about it, dude. The location itself, all the lives that were lost there, the lives that were being born there. Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure a place like that carries so much, memories that lead to paranormal activity there. But
there's a lot of sorrow. There's a lot of pain.
Oh yeah. Whatever we saw that night was like, till this day, like I could still see it. It was really, it's kind of like somebody was just standing and they just dipped down. and just it was frightening. It was pretty scary. But I mean, 5 kids in Laredo. Like, what do you do on a Wednesday night? Break into a property? No, just kidding. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Don't do it, Ghouliacs. Don't do it.
Please don't do it.
But yeah. Do you have any other stories that you want to share with our listeners?
I mean, I told you I tried to narrow down like a couple of them. A lot of them have to do with me breaking into properties. That's not really how this should be done. I brought my attorney with me today, so she told me I can't say anything. It's gonna put me in a legality. But no, I mean, just typical things where your mind plays tricks on you, and you think, you see. Yeah, we talked about this. We're both skeptics,
Yeah.
And it's just, for me, I have to be able to see something, but
to believe it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I do have like a, I don't know, I guess like intuition where I feel like something is around me, I have had people that I'm super close, that were very important to me and close to me that have passed away, that I feel like sometimes I do feel them, like you have a scent that comes to you at times and it's just so random. Like I know that happens to people. I've heard that before, where it's just like you smell somebody's perfume and it's like they're no longer living. So it's kind of like, what is that? What happens in that moment? Is it your brain like chemically creating something? But it's so bizarre when it happens, because it's not like you're thinking about the person, It's one of those things, like that's probably the paranormal side of things that I won't get too scared of. You know what I mean? But I don't know, dude. Put me in a dark room.
Oh, but do it. Do it. This is Ghoul Radio. We're all about the creepy stuff.
Yeah, no. Put me in a dark room with laundry on a chair. That shit looks like a demon in the corner, dude. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, wow. I actually know what you're talking about, yeah.
You see somebody sitting there and you turn on the light and you're like, oh, okay, I forgot to put my cameras away. It's fine. Yeah, no, it's paranormal is just, I don't know, dude. It's the subject that not everybody gets. A lot of people are pretty skeptic about it. And
what do you want to tell the skeptics about the paranormal?
I mean, to each their own. They don't believe it until they see it. If they ever do see it, hopefully that does turn them into believing it, and they're not too like, that can't be it. There's some shit you just can't explain. There's just shit that happens that you're, okay, that just happened. Either I'm going to get scared or I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen. A lot of the time I feel like I pretend it doesn't happen. I mean, my grandma believed in it a lot. I never got to meet my grandma, but I know a lot of my cousins would tell me that she was really into witchcraft and like stuff like that, and I'm like, that's so scary. I could never. Yeah, like I don't think I could have ever gotten into that. Like I'm so scared of that. Like even tarot card readings, I won't go to somebody to do that because I don't know, I'm scared. Like I don't want to know I'm gonna die in like 6 months. Like I don't want to know that.
But it's not all about wanting to know that. There's a lot of positive energy as well. It's not all about negative.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I don't want him to tell me I'm going to fall in love in like 5 weeks, because I'm literally going to be like, you? Right. Is it you? You, looking my way. The chick at McDonald's that gave me an extra Sprite because the car in front of me forgot to get it. Is it you? No, I mean, again, to each their own.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Like, once they do encounter whatever it is that they're looking for, like, it's pretty much self-explanatory. If that does happen to you, you choose whether you want to believe it's paranormal or the wind.
Is there any locations that you've been to that have paranormal activity besides that location we just talked about? Recently.
Well, my place of work before, or even the one that we just moved to the old building we used to work at. I do want to say I experienced some, in the bathroom, dude. I don't know what it is. The door, the stall next to me would just like, I don't know, like it would close a little bit. We had sensors on the toilet, okay? I get it. They go off on their own. Really? Like at that time? Like no one's in the stall next to me, That shit was scary. This one time, I'm gonna share this story. I don't work at that building anymore. This one time after the club, you know, because in the club we're all family. Exactly. I needed to take a piss, dude. And it's 2 a.m. You don't want to go to the bathroom because they're kicking everybody out. So we go back to the place of work. Not the. Don't do that, guys. Please don't do that. Don't go back to your place of work to take a piss at 2 in the morning. We went back. And we have heard stories about people or phones ringing and shit like that. And it was just, okay, whatever. An old building. But I come out of the bathroom and the two coworkers that I was with too were done. They had to use the guy's bathroom. And we're walking off and we hear a bang in the conference room, dude. And it sounds like somebody just threw a remote. Like a remote control. Like you hear it. And one of the guys is, what was that? I was like, I don't care. I just want to get out of here. You know, from the horror stories we've heard from people that have worked there for decades. Like, I was just kind of like, I don't care. Like, I really don't care to. It's like a scary movie, dude. It's always the person that goes to investigate the sound that's going to die first. So that shit stays with me. You know, and I feel like I would be the person that trips. You know, the one that falls running away from the killer. Dude, I'm telling you right now, Rob, if I ever fall, just keep going, dude. Don't come back.
No, that's never gonna happen, dude.
Don't come back for me, Rob. Just keep going, man. But yeah, he went to go investigate the sound, and sure enough, one of the remote controls was on the floor. Now, come on, dude. We all know what a remote weighs with batteries. Yeah. Like, it takes force to throw that shit.
Not even 8 ounces.
Yeah, no. And the shit was like on the floor, batteries out because of how hard it hit the. Yeah, no. That was pretty scary. But yeah, no, that's pretty much some of the stuff. I'm grateful, I'm going to say that I haven't experienced so much paranormal shit because I honestly think my sanity would not be okay. Are you kidding? If I was that kid from The Sixth Sense, dude.
I love that movie.
I know. I mean, it's a great movie. Bruce Willis, poor guy. Like, this whole time, he was working even Afterlife, dude. That fucking sucks. If I'm directing a newscast and I'm already dead, somebody please. Release me.
Well, before he could cross over, he had to take care of unfinished business.
Yeah, I'm taking Lucho with me. No, I mean, yeah, I'm a huge wuss, dude. So I'm grateful that I've only experienced minimal stuff. You know, nothing too intense or like something that's gonna scar me for life. I mean, I feel like that story that I said where I ran from that shadow I saw was just, I don't think I was able to like process it as much because I was running from the law, and then my friends got injured, and that was more traumatic than the actual like thing we saw. But no, I mean, I'm pretty grateful that I haven't seen some scary shit because, like, again, I'm pretty skeptical, and I don't think I want to experience something that's gonna scare the shit out of me, dude. That's why I won't go to Fright Fest.
What?
I went once, dude, and it was just like...
I went there two weeks ago.
How was it?
It was so much fun, dude. I love Fright Fest. So the theme for San Antonio Fright Fest is Dia de los Muertos.
Oh, nice. Okay. That's cool.
It's really cool, but...
That doesn't seem as scary.
No. Well, obviously, it's more culture.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, but the rides are the scary part. And you actually have your sections of the park where they have Stranger Things.
Oh, cool.
They have The Conjuring.
No, not cool.
And you have, oh man, the art, the aesthetic this year was 90s
nice.
theme, like okay. Halloween theme.
Like decorations.
Yes, I fucking sick, love that.
Yeah. That's like our childhood.
Yes.
I love watching those videos on TikTok when they're like Halloween, and when you experience Halloween in the 2000s, and then it's like a slideshow of like the old decorations that your teacher used to have in class and shit. Like, I love that. Yeah.
So I grew up in Dallas. In the summers during school, I would come down here. I would never get a chance to experience Laredo, so I would just go straight to Nuevo Laredo.
Oh, okay.
Because all my family's over there. Growing up with my grandma, my tios, my tias, my primos, primas. During October in Dallas, when I was in my childhood, my mom would decorate the house with Halloween, like 90s theme.
Yeah.
And so she actually put these two decorations in front of the house. This female Dracula.
Okay.
Those ones that the arms move.
Okay,
and the legs and all
like
that.
the paper one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was 9 years old, dude, 10 years old, 11. And I would go home and those stains would scare the shit out of me. Like,
Really?
I would actually scream from the outside gate of the house. I was like, Mom, like, get him away. Like, put him away. Like, they're so fucking scary, dude.
You know which
And
one
then my
scared me?
sister would actually come out of the house and
To
she
go
would,
get
like,
you?
grab my hand and she would, like, you know, pass and like, don't look at them and shit like that. So,
The ones that would scare the shit out of me. Do you remember the ghost? It was like a ghost, like just like a battery pack, but like a little cloth over it, and it would be vibrating. It would be like, ooh, I hated that thing.
Yeah,
dude.
I actually remember
'Cause
those.
every time you'd walk by it, it'd go off, and that shit, dude, I hated that shit. It was just that was probably like the one decoration that scared the shit out of me. And my mom had this like fish, like that fish, the talking fish.
Oh,
Yeah.
the one that you press the button.
Yeah. Well, this one had a sensor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it had a
Alright.
sensor, but it was like Dracula. It had little fangs
Yeah.
and a little cape.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So and that decoration was annoying. Anything that has a sensor is pretty annoying, dude. Like the ones they have at
Stop feeling yourself, Danny, in the mirror.
Flexing, scaring the ghosts.
Anyway, thanks for sharing those moments with us, Chloe.
For sure, dude. Thanks for having me.
I'm pretty sure the Ghouliacs will feel some sort of way when it comes to your experiences and my experience.
Yeah, man.
And I hope we could do this in the future.
Yeah,
do
dude.
this again.
Yeah, I'm totally down. Let me know whenever I can come back.
Season 3.
I mean, hopefully I don't have any more experiences to share, right? But anytime I can come back and have a
We'll
conversation
make
with
more
anybody.
experience.
No, don't say that. Walking Slaughter Park at night. I don't want to do that.
I think Father McNoby is way more.
Is it McNoby or McNaboo?
McNaby. My bad.
McNaboo? Now
It's
we're gonna,
McNaby, right?
we're gonna get canceled from the Ghouliacs that are gonna be like, dude, these guys aren't from Laredo. They don't even know how to say the park.
Anyways. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
Hey, Ghouliacs. For this episode, I have 2 special guests. Anyways, I call them the Double D's, Dave and David. Oh, wait, Danny and David. David and Danny. There you go.
So
All right,
good,
guys.
So good. I got
Moving
intro
on.
twice.
Moving on. David,
Yes.
have you ever had a paranormal experience? And would you like to share that with our listeners?
Hey, what's up, Ghouliacs? I have had actually a couple of paranormal experiences. So I've had 2 at my house, and I've had a couple at work. So I'll tell one about my house, and I'll have one work one. Oddly enough, they deal with objects being thrown. So I was in my room, and oddly enough, I was alone. And all of a sudden, I just hear I hear something drop in my restroom. I think it's like a bar of soap, maybe something fell. So I think nothing of it. A couple of hours passed by. Have to go. Nature calls. Went to the restroom, and my soap holder, which is on the sink where you wash your hands, is in my tub. So it went from sink to tub, and
Oh, wow.
so again, to the skeptics, I'm like, hey, what kind of breeze will lift a soap holder from the sink to the tub? So
That's true.
that's one, and the other one was at Cajun S. So it had been a couple of, at least a month or 2. I had barely started working, and they had told me that there had been activity. I had not experienced it yet, so I was a little skeptical. Like, well, let's see what happens.
Was this at the old building or the new building?
It was at the Delmar station, and I have to, truth be told, I've had more experiences at the Delmar station than at the new station, but this one was at the Delmar station. So it was after the 10 o'clock news, and I was tearing down the studio because I was working cameras. So, as many of you know, TV studio has a lot of TVs. So I went on turning off all the TVs. I got the remote and I put it on a coffee table, and I put it in the middle so it doesn't fall off. So I wrapped up the studio. Everything, lights were off. As I was walking out of the studio, I heard something drop. So I'm like, the hell was that? So I go back, and there is a remote from table to floor. I'm like, how? So I really thought nothing of it. So picked it up, put it back on the table, and went about my day. But ever since then, little things every now and again would happen at that old station, and I would stay there late. So sometimes I'd be the only one in that damn building, and you'd hear footsteps from the hollow floor, or I would hear, it'd be notorious, I would hear this, there would be a sliding door. I'd swear I'd hear the sliding door open, but I'd be like, who the sliding door never moved? So
Well, so you could, I don't know if you remember, you guys have some paranormal investigators, like actually investigate the building.
Yes, we did, and they also found like a lot of activity at the Delmar station. They saw like I guess a little girl. I don't know if you're familiar with like the Connect, like the stick.
Yeah.
So
I've heard about the little girl. There's multiple stories when it comes to Laredo and the little girl appearance. She's either like seen in the mall, she's either seen in Laredo College. I don't know what that is.
So this is again. This was with Chloe. I had just installed an app that lets you see like stick figures and stuff. I guess she was like Connect.
Oh wow!
And we were walking in the cell side, and I was panning, and I'm like, it was a little stick figure, a kid, and it was on top of a trash can. And at first I was like, oh, that's nothing, right? But then it started swinging its feet. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, the older station was definitely
haunted.
Definitely haunted. Yeah, that older station was, at most, in the new station you get some like weird motion sensor stuff. The room should be completely off. There's no one in the building. Then all of a sudden, flicker's on. But other than that, that's pretty much my experiences.
Who is Chloe, David?
Chloe is one of my coworkers at KGNS.
Okay, cool. Just wanted you to say that for our listeners. All right, thanks, David, for sharing those paranormal experiences with our listeners. Danny, let's go.
What's going on, Ghouliacs?
Have you had any paranormal experiences that you would want to share with our listeners?
I do have, but personally, I do not believe in it. I live with myself.
So you're a skeptic?
Half and half. I feel like I have seen things in my house, but I really try not to pay attention to it, because I feel like if you pay attention to it, you're just gonna feed it. So anytime
you're gonna give it energy or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay.
So once I hear noises and stuff like that at my house when I'm by myself, I ignore it. Doesn't matter. But I do have a story from one of my teachers.
Tell us the story.
Okay, so this hotel downtown, it's really old. This was like in middle school. She wanted to scare us, so she started telling us scary stories. Ooh. So as she tells us, Miss Kowalski, I remember her name. She's like, no, yeah, my mother used to work at the hotel that's downtown, and she was I think she was a maid or one of those cleaning ladies that cleans the rooms. So every time she would go in there and clean the room, she would see everything normal. Nothing was out of the ordinary or anything. But every time she would leave, when she would finish cleaning whatever, something was messed up. The bed, the TV was on. And at first I didn't want to believe in any of this stuff because I'm like, I'm a kid. But then she comes in, and she literally starts telling us all these stories, like, because she was a substitute. Her mother was a substitute, and she told us, "No, I really went through that. The ghost chased me. I just ran to the lobby. I was crying, and I don't know." And I'm like, well, I don't know. Honestly, you probably just ran because everybody gets scared. But I would have been like, do it again. I dare you. Pick me up.
You would want to actually taunt
Yes.
whatever paranormal activity
Yeah.
was there.
Pick me up. Show me. Show me.
Is there any other experiences that you want to share with our listeners, Danny?
Let me see. I'm trying to think.
Besides your abs and arms?
Well, you see, I think that's why the ghost doesn't come near me, bro. Because I think he's just afraid, or maybe. Yeah. Chris, if you're listening, I'm always
fuck
without
is
a
Chris?
shirt. Yeah, I know you see my channel, bro. You know you're without a shirt. Yeah, that's my thing, bro. That's why the ghost doesn't fuck with
Give
you.
your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Nah, I don't want to put myself out there, but if you want to follow me,
You're outing people, wait, might as well.
Daniel 590, YouTube.
All right, Danny, that's enough. But
Hey,
thank you
asked.
for sharing those experiences. Also, David, thank you for sharing those experiences with our listeners. Everything is ghouler in Texas. We started our journey to the obscure right here at home and journeyed throughout the dark heart of the Lone Star State. I'd like to thank all my special guests: Andrea Ordóñez from Webb County Heritage Foundation, Fred Guzman from Curious Twins Paranormal, Jesus Moreno and Violet Mituk from Nightmare Hour Paranormal, Derek Spence from Haunted Fredericksburg Ghost Walk, Cindy Ross from Gateway Ghost Tours, and also all my friends who were all part and shared a part of themselves in this season. It was definitely a ghastly wild ride. There's so much more to uncover and discover. We'll tell more tales of this big state of ours, but for now, we must ride into the horizon. That being said, wrap up season 2 for us, guys.
Hi, my name's Andrea Ordóñez, and I'm the manager of the Republic of the Rio Grande Museum.
My name is Fred, and I'm with Curious Twins Paranormal.
Hi, this is Derek Spence. I'm the owner of the Fredericksburg Ghost Tour.
This is Cindy with Gateway Ghost Tours.
So my name is Jesus Moreno. I'm one of the investigators with Nightmare Hour Paranormal.
My name is Violet, and I am also an investigator with Nightmare Hour Paranormal.
My name is Danny.
And this is David.
All right, Ghouliacs signing off. This was Chloe. Hope you guys had a great time listening to me and my buddy Rob talk.
And if you're not
listening to Ghoul
Radio,
it would be a lot
Cooler
Cooler
if you did.